Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream. Wait. Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream!
One and only.
Welcome to another exciting edition of The Game Changer. I am indeed your host, Nate the Effing Great, and this is indeed a special edition of Week of Wrestling. And before we get too deep into everything, guys, of course, you can always check us out on Spreaker.com as well as on Facebook.com/Changing Up the Game. Follow me on Twitter at RealEffingGame. And guys, like I said, before we get too deep into it, I got to talk about something that just recently happened at a local independent last night. It was at an ACW show, and it was a first blood match between Colin Brooks and the new ACW Water City champion, Mr. Raging Nathan Gus. I just want to say before I get too deep into this podcast, Nathan Gus, congratulations on your victory. Congratulations on your title win. You deserve it. Hashtag you deserve it, Nathan Gus. That's mainly what I wanted to get through before I started getting into it. Also, a big shout out and happy birthday to King of the Rings podcast co-host, Mr. Dusty Dave, who turns, I believe, 29 this fine June, I believe. Yep, that sounds about right. So, Dave, happy birthday to you. Hopefully it's a good one. All right, now let's talk wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. So, before we get too deep into anything, first things first, I do want to talk a little bit. I'm probably only going to give this about a minute's worth of time. The new single hit that Enzo Amore dropped. Well, actually, no, he's Real 1, I believe. Basically, what a lot of people have been talking about is that it seems like it's taking a lot of shot at fans, even though he makes it seem like he's taking shot at his critics, at people who are hating him, people who accused him of being a sexual assailant, everything that was going on, and some people agree with him. I am not one of them, because it still feels like he took a shot at the wrestling fans. I mean, the first 10 seconds, you feel like he's just taking a shot at the wrestling nation. Now, of course, some people are going to defend him for what he said on his hip-hop deal. I still do not like him. I still just think that he is not one of the best people in the world. And honestly, he is like the Jake Paul of professional wrestling, as well as hip-hop now, I can say. And the fact is, he was just not well-liked in the locker room for various reasons. And a lot of reasons were because he was cocky, he was arrogant, and he shot his mouth off. So, yeah, I'm not going to really miss Enzo. I'm not going to lie. So, alright, done with that. I spent a minute too long talking about him. Let's talk about something else, shall we? Hey, Monday Night Raw took place this past week, and it was a pretty interesting Raw. Now, I know with a lot of the Raws and Smackdowns that happen, they're just basically slacking off because of the fact that they're dealing with hockey and with basketball. I know that I think there was a best of 7 matchup this week. I don't remember which day it was exactly, but it could have been on Tuesday night if I'm not mistaken. Either way, but yeah, they were just it was kind of a lackluster Monday Night Raw from what people have definitely said. There were some parts of it that were still entertaining about it. Let's just look at some of the ups as far as Raw goes. The opening segment with Finn Balor and Braun Strowman was great. I thought that they played off each other very well on the mic. And honestly, Braun Strowman calling himself, Monster in the Bank is a very good gimmick deal, even though a lot of people know that he's probably not going to win. He's definitely going to be the superstar, the MVP probably of that entire matchup. I honestly think they're trying to really find a way to just top the ladder match that took place this past NXT TakeOver in New Orleans. Yeah, good luck with that. But this eventually evolved into a match between Finn Balor and Braun Strowman. So they kicked off Raw and they finished Raw last week. So they're kicking off Raw this week. Kevin Owens was on commentary and he was literally just saying to people, well, he was just shouting at Braun and at Finn about, how for Braun's like, oh, you got a little guy take you down. Come on, man, you could do better than that. He's just goading him, saying to Finn again, how Braun beat him last week, just took him down, take him down, blah, blah, blah. Then Kevin Owens got involved. Finn Balor looked like he was going to pick up the victory. And Kevin Owens got Braun Strowman disqualified by attacking Finn. And then we saw probably one of the most crazy things I have ever seen from another human being. And that is Braun Strowman grabbed the ladder and he just launches it like a shot put ball towards Kevin Owens. I think it went from like the ring to almost halfway up the entrance ramp. Oh my God, was that a far throw. And that was not like just one of those like PB ladders. No, this was like a regular sized ladder. So for Braun Strowman, that just, wow. That shows a lot of intensity. That shows a lot of strength that Braun Strowman can possess. And what they're doing with Kevin Owens, with him just, trash talking on the mic, it's absolutely great. He picked up a victory against Bobby Roode later on, which really does make me feel like Bobby Roode's going to win, which I'm hoping happens. Bobby Roode's been on a losing streak, and he's just not been, getting that momentum that he wants. It just sucks that he's just basically getting screwed because of the fact that, he's doing horrible as a babyface. Then turn him heel. He was amazing as a heel. Why have him be a babyface? It made no sense. I just don't know. It just made no sense to me. All right. We had an Elias concert where he basically shot down Virginia, calling people ugly, making fun of them. Eventually, then we got Seth Rollins to come out. I like to call him Seth Pool, even though a lot of people were saying that he looked like either like a Power Ranger or something like that. He just looked a lot like Deadpool with that attire. So Seth Pool it is. Anytime he's wearing red, I'm just calling him Seth Pool. He defended his title against Jinder Mahal in probably Jinder's second best matchup since coming back, honestly. His matchup against AJ Styles for the title was great. This felt like it was just a than his matchup against Styles at Night of Champions, but not quite to that Smackdown level. But he really did put on a good show. Seth Rollins just got really frustrated and hit Jinder with a chair, getting disqualified. It still makes Jinder look pretty strong, but it also makes Seth Rollins still keep the title. So everybody goes home a bit happy. Or do they? Because Elias decides to take the guitar and smash it on Seth Rollins' back as he's on top of an announce table. And he just takes a nasty fall. I mean, it literally looked like he just hurt himself again. So many people were just very shocked. I was amazed that he was able to walk somewhat by his own free will, but he was not going to go out on a stretcher. And I admire that about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, just keep doing what you're doing, man. It was announced also later that Seth Rollins will defend the Intercontinental Championship against Elias at Money in the Bank. This is going to be a good matchup. I loved Elias versus Roman Reigns, but I think I'm going to love Elias versus Seth Rollins that much more. It is going to be really, really good. And speaking of Roman, he was actually not involved on Raw at all. He really had very little acknowledgement, really. I mean, the only thing that they talked about was his match at Money in the Bank, and that was it. Interestingly enough, he was involved in a quote-unquote incident with a fan. This actually brings up a very interesting topic of discussion. When, celebrities, superstars, women wrestlers, when they're out with their families, do you bother them? Because what basically happened was Roman Reigns was having breakfast, I believe it was, with his two twin sons and his daughter, and I guess a father saying, oh, well, my son's a fan of yours, can you take a picture and get an autograph with you? And apparently it came off as Roman just said, no, get away or something like that. And Roman actually went on Twitter to basically reply to that, where he said, yes, I was having breakfast with my sons and my daughter. The guy comes up to me, asks me, and before I could even get a chance to say, I'm sorry, I just don't get that much time with my family, he basically called him like a sellout, I think it was, and just walked away grumbly. So this was one of those stories that was not produced by the guy himself, but by, I think, a friend of the guy. So my thoughts on this were that Roman deserves time with his family. He's already getting a lot of interactions with fans. There are a lot of people that, of course, love him, and there are a lot of people that really hate him. So I think that it's just fair for him to actually have some time where he doesn't have to worry about people cheering for him or booing for him. Just actually being a dad. And in those kind of moments, I would just say, just leave them alone. Just don't let them do that. There's a time and a place for everything. And for some people, it's at a booth or at a table where they're signing autographs, taking pictures, stuff like that. It's okay every now and then to maybe, chat with them outside of wrestling. But also, I think it's for this kind of very reason that I'm not one of those people that, waits outside when wrestlers are leaving or they're coming into the arena. I just want them to at least, have a little bit of, just have a little bit of their space. I will be one of those people that, is always there, spending time with them. I loved when I went to Super Friends and I got the chance to talk to so many people. As I mentioned before, Melina, who was an absolute sweetheart. Thea Trinidad, also known now right now as Zelina Vega. Trust me, I'm going to be talking about her in just a bit. They were just absolutely nice. Got to meet Angelina Love. And she also had her baby on one of the days. But I remember, it's one of those things where, you're not going to be one of those people that's like, oh, can I hold the baby? No. It's just one of those things where, let her have time with her kid. Just respect that. I think I made a joke to ODB just saying like, oh, do you want to be a mama DB now? And she's like, oh yeah, totally. I would kick ass as a mom. So it all goes down to giving the people their space. Honestly, show the kind of respect to them that you would expect from them. You give them respect, they'll give you respect. So if it's kind of one of those things where, maybe Roman Reigns would have been for it. He could have honestly said, that statement, and then he could have said, maybe we could do this, another time. You never know. So you just got to give them space, like I said. Don't just assume the worst from them. If they're hanging out with family, let them hang out with family. Give them their space. All right, I think I've gone through that enough. So from there, we had a Nia Jax exhibition where she basically brought down, I think it was, I'm trying to remember her name. Her name on TV was Michelle Webb, but I believe it was Maxi Mad, if I'm not mistaken, is like her independent wrestling name. Basically, Ronda's just watching Nia Jax just play mind games with her. Even Ronda did like the stare against Nia when she got into the ring with her. And Nia just kind of laughed it off and just said like, oh, that's the Ronda Rousey glare. How cute. It was one of those things where now it really looks like it's going to be a good matchup between Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey. I am looking forward to it. I think that they're building this up actually pretty well. I do agree with a lot of criticism that it seems weird that Nia Jax just turned babyface and now she's just quickly turning heel again. And it does make Alexa Bliss right about the that she made. So, yeah, WWE creative, you didn't really think that far ahead now, did you? Great job. Just great. But like I said, I'm still looking forward to it. It's going to be good. Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy defeated The Ascension. It was just a quick little matchup between the two of them. But when we're on the topic about tag teams, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel are just Oh my God, they are just absolutely entertaining. And this was one of the best things that they could do. If this deal turns into an annual thing, I would be absolutely amazed. I'm actually also surprised they didn't save this for the 4th of July barbecue, but they broke the mold. They really did. I'm actually okay with this. Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, they decided to have a B-team tag team invitational barbecue where basically they brought all the tag teams together. They had, oh my God, they had food. They had bologna sandwiches, or I think it was bologna sandwiches. The B team baked beans, Bo dogs, potato chips, It was literally one of those things where I saw this and I thought to myself, okay, I think I know who's going to be the star coming out of this tag team when they split. It's going to be Bo, because there's so much that they can do with this. But all of this was just for Bo and Curtis to basically get blessing from the teams saying, hey, ahead of you and get a tag team title shot, right? And all the tag teams are saying no, and B teams are just like, okay, then we're just going to take the food back. They're basically taking everything back, and then it evolves into a food fight. And let me just state this factor, that Rhino was honestly the hardcore man beast of professional wrestling, and now he's reduced to just being a guy who just sits in a corner and eats. He ate cheese and chips, he's eating bologna sandwiches. Somehow him eating turns out to be some of the best things that you could possibly imagine. I'm literally just trying to focus on some of the confrontations that's going on in the ring, and but I also look in the corner of my eye and see Rhino just sitting there like a guy who's just watching an independent show. He's just munching on a sandwich, and then he munches on another one, and then another one, and then another one. It's so funny. In the end, though, Kurt Angle announces a tag team battle royal for next week, and the winner will go on to face the leader of worlds for the Raw tag team titles. I'm hoping it's on the build-up to Money in the Bank, because right now I just do not see that working out as a Money in the Bank matchup, especially even if they put it in the B team. It just feels like it's one of those things that would just be rushed way too fast. But again, Rhino just completely being absolutely funny, but the B team just creating something absolutely memorable. They saved Raw this past week. Sami Zayn came out for an apology to basically apologize for his crappy segment that he had last week. And it was one of those things where he felt like, he was being pressured to apologize because he was taking a shot at transgenders and men who dress like women and blah, blah, blah. And he turned it into gold. The problem with this was that Lashley got involved, and it was just one of those things where it just turned into absolute stupidity. It turned into just this deal where he basically challenges Sami Zayn to a match at Money in the Bank. They shake hands, and then Lashley crushes Sami's hand like, Stevie Ray apparently did to Chavo Guerrero all those years ago in WCW. Yeah, I could deal without this. I mean, like I said, it was great because Sami turned it into gold a little bit, but then when Lashley came out, it just turned it into a pile of dirt. It just did nothing. Why did they do this to Lashley? Lashley definitely deserved better, and he still deserves better. I'm hoping that they make him into that monster. They make him into that supreme athlete that he was beforehand. Make him the guy he was in Impact Wrestling. Just do something with him. Make him a badass. It's just his music sucks. His wrestling is not that good. Just, what are they doing with him? What are they doing? Drew McIntyre defeated Chad Gable in a great one-on-one matchup. Chad Gable, again, just showing that he is excellent in the ring as a singles competitor. But, like I said, he's not quite up to the victory yet. And I thought that this was going to be the moment where, Jason Jordan comes out and they recreate, American Alpha or Team Angle 2.0 for a lot of people. But that didn't happen. So, yeah. But it was still a really good matchup for these guys. Oh boy. We go into the last chance Money in the Bank gauntlet matchup. So, during this gauntlet matchup, we have Dana Brooke, Mickie James, Sarah Logan, Sasha Banks, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Bayley. Bayley starts off with Liv Morgan, hits a Bayley to belly, 1, 2, 3, she's gone. Sarah Logan comes out, Bayley gets a victory over her, she's gone. Riott Squad beats down on Bayley, and then Ruby Riott pins Bayley, which was probably the worst thing that they could have done. Probably the first mistake that they could have done in this matchup. I think I can count at least 2 or 3, but we'll see. So Ruby Riott takes on Dana, pins her. Then we get Mickie versus Ruby Riott. This was in Mickie's hometown of Richmond, Virginia, so she got a really good reaction. And Ruby Riott pins Mickie. And then we get Sasha versus Ruby Riott in a really good matchup to end it all. And Sasha locks in the bank statement on Ruby Riott for the victory. Okay, so what are some of the issues with this matchup? Well, I was hoping that Bayley was going to survive the women's division and go on to face Sasha in the finals, which would have made perfect sense, and then you can build up Bayley again. And then we'd be excited to see Bayley versus Sasha again. Because it was great, it was awesome. Why does WWE do this? I don't know. Ruby Riott was the all-star in this matchup. She looked really good in this match. Honestly, she should just be on her own. Liv Morgan and Sarah... Liv Morgan. It is Liv Morgan. It's Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan just... those two can just be a tag team. And maybe they can go back to NXT. I just do not understand this combination. Absolution is dead, and somehow Absolution 2.0 ripoff is still alive. Why in God's name? Why? And I also didn't like the fact that they eliminated Mickie James. I thought Mickie James should have earned that shot. It honestly would have been great to have her win in her hometown, which I honestly didn't know until the reaction happened. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cool. Then Sasha won. Which, okay, here's the thing. If they would have put all 4 of the 4 horsewomen in this matchup, then maybe it would be exciting. But they didn't. They only have 3. They have Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. It just, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to have that. Honestly, also the fact that, Charlotte and Sasha are involved here, and it feels like one of them are going to win. It shouldn't work like that. Sasha can be a great star on her own. She doesn't need the briefcase. Charlotte is great on her own, doesn't need the briefcase. It's just, they really need to build up Becky and Bayley more. So, if anything, Bayley should have been involved in this, and I stand by Becky still being involved in this. I'm totally okay with that. But, of course, that being said, this matchup itself, the way it was executed throughout was okay, but the finish and Bayley getting eliminated after 3 rounds did no favors to anybody. People lost interest because they already knew who was going to win after that. If they would have had Bayley run through it, then you could have had people guessing, and then it would have been satisfactory to a lot of people. But they didn't. And like I said, if Mickie James would have won, that would have been fine with me because it's in her hometown, and she's definitely one of those women that deserves it. Okay. Raw will also feature next week Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens. I'm really looking forward to that matchup. I think that will be absolutely amazing. Nia Jax will take on Natalya. And then we have Braun Strowman versus Bobby Roode. Oh, God, no. I don't want Bobby to die. I want to see him be glorious at Money in the Bank. Why must they do this to me? Because we're trying to promote this. I don't care. You're going to kill my favorite superstar. Why do you hate me, WWE? Just why? They really do. I swear they hate me. Let's go on to a happy thought. Smackdown. Okay. Smackdown was better. So Smackdown started off as Samoa Joe. He basically just comes out to the ring. He climbs up a ladder and retrieves the briefcase, talks about how he's going to win it. But first he was going to destroy Daniel Bryan. He talks smack about him and how he'll be going back to his wife and to his daughter, and basically telling them that Daddy's not going to be the same coming back. Daniel Bryan basically just says, if you ever talk about my family again, I will snap your leg in half. Basically snap your leg. He's basically threatening to just destroy him. And then Big Cass comes out, oh God, and says that Paige does not believe in this whole second chance deal, so therefore I'm going to get my shot tonight against Samoa Joe. Well, once I'm healthy, which I am. And then he just attacks with the crutch and with the briefcase. Paige then basically counters by saying, I didn't realize Big Cass spoke for me, but I am going to make a triple threat match for the final spot. Alright. Sorry, I had to take a little drink there. Alright, we also get a backstage deal with Shinsuke Nakamura using flashcards counting from 1 to 10. It was very funny to see. Mandy Rose gets booked against Asuka tonight. So we have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ty Dillinger in what was a pretty good matchup, actually. You definitely expected Nakamura to dominate, but I think a lot of people were very surprised at how well Ty Dillinger held himself during this matchup. Throughout the matchup, Shinsuke Nakamura was doing the countdown from 1 to 10, and Ty Dillinger just kept getting up. There was even a point where Ty Dillinger did the 10 deal to Nakamura, which, almost cost Nakamura everything in that matchup. But in the end, Shinsuke Nakamura hits the Kinshasa, then pins him 1, 2, 3, counts all the way up to 10, and basically Shinsuke Nakamura just God. Shinsuke Nakamura is just absolutely insane. And I want to actually share a tweet that I wrote on Twitter because this was really awesome. So I tweeted out on SmackDown, this should have been a match of 10. 10 counts all around. They could make this work, but I think the ref would need a raise with a laughy, crying face. So I get a response from Jason Ayers, I believe his name is, one of the referees from WWE. He responds with, all I heard was ref needs a raise. Legitimately, that made my week. I don't care what anybody says, that just made my week. It was awesome. It was a really good matchup between the two, and that made it that much more entertaining. AJ Styles talks about becoming the last man standing at Money in the Bank. It was a good deal. We get the dance-off versus pitching Lana against Naomi. Of course, a lot of people are going to shit on this, but I thought for the most part it was pretty good. It's a while since we've seen a dance-off between two women, and honestly, I thought that they were both pretty good. I thought that Lana showed a lot of her dance skills, and some of the stuff that she did from Pitch Perfect 2, I thought it looked really good. Naomi, of course, is already naturally gifted as a dancer, but I'm not going to lie, I really thought that Lana was the better one. I'm sorry, but I was more impressed with her. And one of my friends on Twitter, Deuce, he likes to know himself as, basically said that is the whitest thing you could ever say. I'm a white guy. What can I say? So it seemed like the dance thing was over. There was no winner that was really decided. But then Lana and Naomi started dancing together. They did the what is it, like that I think it's like that. It's like a Middle Eastern ankle dance or something like that. It was really bizarre, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I mean, at least they're bringing some culture into this, so I'm okay with that. But in the end, Lana hits a neckbreaker on Naomi. The Usos and Rusev and in English, they got into a brawl, and Naomi hits the rear view. We get a build-up for Jimmy Uso and Naomi versus Aiden English and Lana next week. A lot of people are questioning, why is it Rusev in this matchup? Why couldn't it be husbands and wives pitted against each other? I think I know why, and it's actually pretty smart by WWE. I think that they're definitely trying to save Rusev for Money in the Bank. They really want him at his best. They don't want to risk him getting injuries, and with Aiden English, he's not really doing too much. So, I mean, for Jimmy Uso, he's not really doing anything for Money in the Bank anyway. So I think it works for him. Why then wouldn't they do that for, Naomi and Alana? I think they needed to really put something flashy in this matchup. So that's just what I think went down. Okay, so let's go on to what could possibly have been match of the week, and that was the New Day versus The Miz and The Bar. This 6-man tag team match was absolutely lit. It was good. The moves were crisp. Everything that they did was absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston looked great in this match. Miz and The Bar looked absolutely phenomenal. It just worked. It made all 6 guys look tremendous. In the end, Big E would hit the big ending on Miz for the victory, and New Day would get the victory. Mandy Rose lost to Asuka. That's really all that we need. And then Carmella got into the ring, got into Asuka's face, basically stating, "Oh yeah, I'm going to beat you," and blah blah blah. Okay, that was a thing. So, whatever. And Carmella is not money. Carmella equals trash right now. You want proof? Listen to her scream at Backlash. That's all I need to say. Becky Lynch and Charlotte were backstage, and they were talking about who was going to win Money in the Bank. Honest to God, this was a very entertaining segment between them, where Charlotte's just saying, you look off in the distance, you see me winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then Becky Lynch just goes, I just see a wall. I mean, I think you're just looking at a wall right now, so why don't you just, turn this way, turn this way, turn this way. Here you go. Now you're looking at the real Miss Money in the Bank. And then Paige got involved, and she wanted to do a weird little she wanted to do a reunion of what is it? The PCB deal where they were doing the whole Pinky Out deal. It was one of those things where she was kind of like Christian from Edge and Christian, where Edge was kind of the comedy and Christian brought the awkwardness, but it was still hilarious. So that was really good. And then Paige announced a matchup between Charlotte and Becky Lynch for next week. A lot of people are complaining, why are these two fighting against each other? Doesn't Paige want, the two of them to really, just didn't they want, the two of them to be healthy? I thought about that myself, but honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the two of them basically trying to prove amongst each other who is the better one. And I think that they could put on a really good matchup. And it would be a really good preview going into Money in the Bank. So I think it's going to be great. So we get into something that's a little bit bizarre, but it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a rivalry here between Sin Cara and Andrade Cien Almas. Almas and Sin Cara, I guess they were friends for a while, and then Zelina Vega got involved, and she's basically just telling Sin Cara to stay away, and Sin Cara is just trying to be like, dude, really? And Andrade tells Sin Cara to never touch him again in Spanish, and both of them walk away. So we're getting Sin Cara versus Andrade Cien Almas as a bit of a rivalry. I'm okay with it as long as it doesn't get like too weird. How could it be too weird? It's WWE. Just think about that for a minute. Honestly, I the first thing that I thought to myself when these three were just basically talking in all Spanish, I thought to myself, this needs to be on Telemundo. Are you kidding me? If they did that, then, well, they might actually have a little more grip on the Latin American audience, but I don't want it to get too cheesy. I think that if they can provide enough, good TV for these guys, that it'll be really good. So we get into the main event: Samoa Joe versus Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan. Let's just face it, it was just Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe, and Big Cass was just there for kicks and giggles. A lot of times Big Cass was just getting thrown out or getting laid out by Joe or Daniel Bryan. In the end, it looked like Daniel Bryan was going to win with the running knee. Samoa Joe grabs Daniel Bryan, locks in the coquina clutch, and makes Daniel Bryan pass out. A lot of people are complaining about that. I want to talk about something about that in just a minute. But Samoa Joe beats Daniel Bryan, and he is the final man to be in Money in the Bank. Big Cass hits a big boot on Daniel Bryan. We're still getting Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass, aren't we? The rivalry that's going to just, oh God, that's going to kill everybody. We're just making a Smackdown match. Don't make it another. Just please don't. I really don't want that. So, one thing that actually was kind of brought to my attention, and I was listening to the Kings of the Ring podcast when they mentioned this, is that there have not really been too many championship decisions by submission. And what I mean by that is that you don't really see too many championship titles changing hands via submission. The last big title change where it involved a submission, to my knowledge, was WrestleMania 30. Because if you look at the Universal Championship reign, no champion has won the championship via submission. Since WrestleMania 30, I thought of a single man who won the championship with a submission move. I really haven't. It's really weird. So I'm hoping that with time we get more technical style wrestling instead of these weird, just one and done moves deal like they did for so long. It just, I really miss that. I really miss the technical style. That's why I love seeing Samoa Joe do it. And if Samoa Joe wins Money in the Bank, I hope that he chokes out whoever is the champion, because that would just be amazing. Let's just have, let's just have Samoa Joe just choke everybody out, and then he wins the title. I think I'm okay with that. All right. So, moving on to 205 Live. I know it's been a while since I've actually talked about 205 Live, but this is a special occasion. I'm telling you that right now. First off, Lucha House Party, which features Gran Metalik, Kalisto, and Lince Dorado. I love it. I actually really like this team, and I still love the fact that they are still trying to get some kind of, culture to it. They're really trying to get, I still think that they're trying to get like the Latin American culture involved with this, and I still love it. I think it's really good. I like this trio, and I like the team of Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher. They kind of complement each other very well. And then you throw in Drew Gulak in the picture, and literally we're at the point where it's like, why don't they just have a tag team division like that? Honestly, if they came up with like a trios title thing for the cruiserweights, I think that would be great. It'd be something different. And you already have a 3-man team right there. You have Lucha House Party, and you can have the Brian Kendrick, Jack Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. That would be amazing. I would love to see that. So, I'm hoping they do more. But, of course, the main event, Cedric Alexander defending the title against Buddy Murphy, was an absolute barn burner. It was match of the week, honest to God. It was so good. I got a chance to watch it. Oh my God, I was just in awe of how well Buddy Murphy held himself in this matchup. The build-up, was amazing. It was great. I loved the match itself. You had the high-flying style of Cedric Alexander and the technical style that he brought versus the hard knockdown, drag-about, brawling style that Buddy Murphy brought in. And it was great. It was absolutely amazing. In the end, Cedric Alexander used the lumbar check to retain the Cruiserweight title. Great matchup between these two. It's built up for so long, and I really loved it. Like I said, check out the promo package, check out the match. You will not be disappointed. This is what a pay-per-view quality matchup is. It is absolutely amazing. All right, we go on from there to NXT. We started off with an Aleister Black promo where he talks about he doesn't know what's going to happen at NXT TakeOver Chicago, who he's fighting. Lars Sullivan comes in and says, per William Regal, he is the number one contender. They get to a brawl, and Lars Sullivan blocks the fade to black, black mass kick that Aleister Black does, and then hits his what's his finisher called again? I think it's the freak accident. And then he just takes the NXT title, holds it above his head, and could that be a sign of things to come going into TakeOver Chicago? I hope not. Oh God, I don't want to see that. Aleister Black, I hope you win. I really hope so. War Raiders defeated George Hickson and Cody Vincent. Moving on. Not really much to really talk about there. EC3 taking on Fabian Eichner. I think his name is. During this matchup, though, Johnny Gargano actually just grabs a microphone, talks about how he signed the contract to face Tommaso Ciampa in a street fight. EC3 took a little bit of exception to this during the matchup. He hits the 1%er on Fabian and gets the win. EC3 definitely kind of looking back and kind of looking a little confused. And I agree with the Bleacher Report on this. I think it may be a sign of things to come. We might get Gargano versus EC3 in the near future, which I'm totally okay with. That would be a really good rivalry between the two of them. Johnny Gargano representing the heart and the soul of wrestling, and EC3 just being EC3. I swear, if he brings out the Barber Shop Quartet in his NXT or his WWE main roster deal, I will just freak out and I will say yes, I love this. Ricochet took on Chris Dijak in a pretty good matchup, and I got to see Ricochet hit the 630 senton. I was happy. I immediately screamed to myself, Prince Puma, damn it! I was so excited. I was so happy to see that. Velveteen Dream came out and basically made a challenge for NXT TakeOver Chicago. Well, actually, no, Ricochet was the one that made the challenge. Velveteen Dream just says, why wait? Why not tonight? But then he just says, yeah, I'm going to wait till Chicago, because anything that you can do, I can do better. And right now, we are at a where this is amazing. We see Ricochet not even do that much of a run. He leaps out of the ring, lands on the outside, right in front of Velveteen Dream, whose jaw just drops. And he just replies to him, then show me. So a lot of people are definitely kind of curious about this. And this actually is a question from Mr. Fretz, who asked the question of... Actually, I should probably pull that up really quick. Because he had a question regarding that and about Velveteen Dream's deal with... oh boy. Man, I really want to get the... I want to get the actual tweet, because like I said, I just don't want to just say what it is. Here we go. So Mr. Fritz, he had this to say. He said, how will Velveteen Dream attempt to outdo Ricochet's awesome flip? I guess that I don't think he's going to. Here's my thoughts for this. I think this could be a solid 6-star deal between Ricochet and Velveteen Dream. There is a lot of potential when it comes to this. It looks really good. The storyline is being built very well. Ricochet brings a lot of that fast-paced, high-flying action. Velveteen Dream just brings a style of his own. He is the top when it comes to what a superstar should be. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. It is absolutely amazing how he just pulls everything off. He is amazing. All right, so I think that he's just going to bring out his own style, and it's going to really complement Ricochet's fast-paced action. I think that's the best answer I can give. Maybe he does a flip. Maybe he surprises a lot of people with a dive to the outside. I don't know, but let's see what happens. Dakota Kai challenged Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. Shayna looking very dominant, but Dakota Kai putting up a fight, which was great. But in the end, Dakota Kai locks in a chokehold and makes Dakota Kai tap out. Did I say Dakota Kai twice? I meant Shayna Baszler made Kai tap out. There we go. She locks it in on Kai again, and that's where we get Nikki Cross. She comes in. She just looking absolutely vicious. She looks absolutely insane. She grabs the title, gives it to Kai, hits a swinging fisherman's buster on Shayna Baszler, has to Kai counter down 1, 2, 3. Nikki Cross just celebrating like she won the title, and then just, she's grabbing it, she's celebrating with the fans, she's up on the ramp, she's holding it. Shayna Baszler is just being like, hey, that's my belt, give it back. And Nikki is just kind of creating that line where she's just saying, come get it. Come get it. And I think Shayna Baszler might have something of a fierce competitor right here. It's going to be an amazing match between these two. I can already tell this is going to be at NXT TakeOver Chicago, and it's going to be really good. Pure magic was this matchup. It makes so much. It's just an absolute masterpiece. NXT was great. 205 Live just really outshines Raw. And, I think that, I'm going to just say Raw. I think that, despite Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal putting a great matchup, I think that 205 Live was definitely a bit better than Raw. And they only had 1 hour. What does that tell you? I'm going to let that sink in. All right, so if you have not tuned out of this right now, you made it this far. And it's time to talk about, honestly, one of my favorite promotions, that being Impact Wrestling. So I'm sure a lot of people are just going to be like, nope, turning off. I understand. For those that are kind of curious, I'll just go through like a quick deal here, mainly highlighting a couple things that happened during the event. Eli Drake defeated Scott Steiner. Tessa Blanchard versus Madison Rayne. Rayne won with a roll-up. Honestly, Tessa Blanchard as a heel right now is absolutely amazing. She's great on Impact Wrestling. She really knocks it out of the park. And honestly, some people are going to be complaining that, Madison Rayne, she doesn't deserve the victory. It's like, well, she's the veteran in this case. She's got to be the alpha female in this situation. And, she's gonna go down eventually. But right now, I'm okay with it. I think that Tessa Blanchard's going to get her win back, and she's still going to look like the absolute amazing, amazing person that she is. All right, we had Brian Cage defeating Desmond Xavier. We had, oh my gosh, this matchup here is what really made me super happy. And honestly, this was the best women's match of the week. Shayna Baszler versus Dakota Kai was good, but this tops it. We had a last rites match for the Knockouts Championship. Allie defends against Su Yung. Oh my god. So a few weeks ago, Su Yung basically threw Allie's friend Rosemary into a casket, and then the week following, she sets fire to it. During that same week, we also get announced of the matchup between the two of them, and we see Allie just have this transformation from this happy-go-lucky, kind of like bunny-like superstar to just this very dark and very vengeance-hungry, woman. And it's so amazing because they had this deal where she's looking at a mirror, and there's a note that just says, little bunny, don't give in to the darkness. R. Obviously, that's Rosemary talking to Allie, but Allie, she wouldn't listen. The first thing that we see is Su Yung come out in her, I guess you could call it zombie-like phase, and it's just really amazing what she does. She looks absolutely amazing. And then we see Allie come out. First, her bright and peppy music comes out. It's like, yay, it's all happy. But 5 seconds later, I kid you not, we hear Rosemary's music hits. Allie just takes off her hood from her leather jacket. I think it's Rosemary's jacket. She has the Rosemary face paint on her face. It was legitimately one of the most jaw-dropping things I had ever seen from Allie, because I've watched her, and she's actually a pretty good Knockouts champion, but this is one of those moments where it's I did not see this really coming, even with last week. It's not one of those things where it's I see this coming. It's okay, this I did not see. And what really sold it was Su Young's reaction. Su Yung made it seem like it was looking at a ghost, where she just looks at Allie and sees her having this face paint, having this attire. She just looks like Rosemary, except for, the blonde hair, but that is what it is. And Su Yung just looks absolutely scared. She's like, no, I destroyed you. And basically, Josh mentioned put it best, it's Allie embracing the darkness for her friend Rosemary. It was her paying homage, and she did that so well. There came a point where Rosemary does this deal where she's on her back and her legs are kind of underneath her, and she does this weird kind of zombie sit-up deal. Allie did that during this matchup, and I was literally just jaw on the ground oh my god, I believe this character, I believe this matchup, I believe that professional wrestling is real again. This is amazing. In the end, Su Yung was close to being thrown into the casket, but locks in a mandible claw to Allie. She gets thrown into the casket. Su Yung closes the casket, and Su Yung is the new Knockouts champion. Now, I think that they were going to do more of a program with Rosemary and with Su Yung, but I just read online that she actually suffered an ACL injury, which those take a while to really heal up. So I think that's why she got written off and why her casket was burned. But already, if she decides to come back to Impact Wrestling, I don't know how long her contract is. I'm hoping it's still a while because she's awesome. Rosemary in WWE would be amazing, honestly. But we have this deal in which Allie is definitely trying to embrace the darkness because she's trying to avenge Rosemary. Well, when Rosemary comes back, Allie can still be in that dark phase. And when Rosemary comes back, she's just saying, you used to be this pure and, delicate, innocent little bunny, but now you've turned to nothing more than this hungry, savage wolf. It's just a storyline that speaks for itself. It's almost like a Saw movie. You have Jigsaw, the master in Rosemary, basically trying to make sure that Allie is not going down the wrong path. Or the other guy, I don't even know his name. There are so many Saw movies that it's just ridiculous. But, he's trying to guide the guy in the right path, where Jigsaw was trying to basically say, hey, I want you to appreciate life, so I'm putting you in this near-death situation so you can appreciate it. With the other guy, he's just killing just because. That's all it was. And that's why I see with Allie, it's like with Rosemary, she's trying to teach about the darkness so that people don't do the same mistakes that she did. And now Allie's starting to embrace a bit of that darkness, and Rosemary's going to try and Allie's doing that because of vengeance, because of anger. It's a storyline that reads itself. It's amazing, and I want this to happen now. I want Allie versus Rosemary. The storyline writes itself. Just, yes, give it to me. Alright. Oh, Eddie Edwards wants a rematch against Sami Callihan in the Woods. Just basically, Sam Edwards basically said the phrase, I'm going to murder Callihan. Very extreme. Honestly, I think it was too much. I really think that that's kind of one of those rules in wrestling that you don't use. When it comes to a promo, you don't talk about murdering someone. You don't say the word kill, in my opinion. I think that, you should go for things, something like, destroy, or I'm going to, wreck you, or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like murdering and killing is just too much. Especially with nowadays, it just really feels wrong. It feels weird. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. Alright, so we have Pentagon Jr. taking on Austin Aries for the World Championship. Good matchup here. The ending was a little bit sloppy. So, Austin Aries defeated Pentagon Jr. by countout. Austin Aries just said, no, we need a decisive winner. Let's go again. Pentagon Jr. accepts. They both get counted out this time, and then Pentagon Jr. just said in complete Spanish about having a one more matchup, and that he has no fear. I don't think that I can make that up. So, before the bell even sounds, the referee had his back turned. Austin Aries hit a low blow, hits the brainbuster, pins Pentagon Jr. for the world title, and Austin Aries is now a 3-time champion. I can understand why they did this, though. I think that they know that Lucha Underground is very close. And it's going to be weird to have Pentagon Jr. as the world champion and also have him still be like the Lucha Underground champion. That's just my thought on it. It's just one of those things where, they already taped Lucha Underground. They already got the stuff going. They can't just change it. So, what better way to do it than to have Pentagon lose the title? Then I think he'll have his rematch next week, and then he'll fade away for a while and become Pentagon Dark. God help me, that's going to be amazing. There's a lot going on, and give me a minute. Austin Aries is the new world champion. Okay, moving on. Lucha Underground starts very soon. Like, less than 2 weeks away. God help me. This just screams awesome. I am looking forward to seeing what the debut episode is. I also need to watch this with somebody. I can't just watch it by myself. Maybe I'll watch it with Max. Maybe I'll watch it with some other wrestling friend. It doesn't matter. Lucha Underground is going to be it's going to be the one thing that just makes my year complete. Oh, as a wrestling fan, that just makes me so happy. It is literally just the best feeling, Lucha Underground. So much to talk about, so much questions that need to be answered. Let's just find out what happens at Lucha Underground. I am going to be so happy. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Alright, so with that being said, I am out of things to talk about for wrestling. Because, I talked about Raw, Smackdown, 205 Live, NXT, Impact, Lucha Underground's coming up. Money in the Bank weekend is going to be on the week of Lucha Underground. There's going to be a lot of shit going down the week of Money in the Bank. Because you got Raw, you got Smackdown, you got 205 Live, you got NXT and Lucha Underground in the same night. Impact Wrestling. So much more is going on. And then after Money in the Bank is over, you got the UK and the UK Championship match with Pete Dunne. I may have just died and gone to wrestling heaven with that week. So we are just mere weeks away, 2 weeks away from Money in the Bank weekend, but less than that for one of the greatest weeks in wrestling. Tune into the Game Changer to learn more and to find out what goes down this week. It's going to be amazing. It really is. I'm Nate the Effing Great. Thank you for joining me here. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye. Well, maybe. Nope. Bye-bye.
Velveteen Dream.